Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Force here from Force Strategy Gaming. Where else would I be from? Anyways, I've got a best of 3 series here between KiWiKaKi and 6 Jacks DDE. We can see right now in the upper right position here on Xel'Naga Caverns, we do have DDE as our blue Terran player. And then here in the bottom left, we do have KiWiKaKi as the yellow Protoss player. So yes, Protoss versus Terran, best of 3 series here between KiWiKaKi and DDE. And yeah, I'm excited for this. I am excited. The last series that I cast was Idra vs. Huck. That was exciting, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. I just keep saying excited. Don't know why. Do not know why. There's no rhyme or reason behind the things that I do at times. Let me assure you of that. KiWiKaKi dropping down his 9 pylon and then heading right on out into DDE's base, moving straight across the center of the map, not grabbing that Xel'Naga tower, just actually continuing to make his way on over. Not even going to bother with that. Do of course want to keep a close eye as to what DDE is going to be doing. He's heading over there nice and early, and he's going to be there pretty much just for the start of the production of that first barracks. That's going to allow him to do a little bit of damage, just a little bit of harass, even if he's just getting a few shots off. And let's see how DDE manages to deal with this. This is very small stuff. And actually sending out that SCV immediately after production straight towards that worker to try to delay and prevent much more harass here from this probe. Actually checking the corner of his base, he wanted to spot if there was a proxy pylon or anything of the sort. We do have that refinery going down a little bit later than we're typically seeing it, and actually dropped down to 14 supply, and he was floating a little bit of resources. Not sure if that's part of his time build or if he was a little bit distracted. Both are possibilities. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that was part of the game plan. I'm going to just go ahead and assume that. Now back over here for KiWiKaKi, everything's looking very standard so far. Gateway assimilator coming on through, second pylon being placed down as well, so nothing too fanciful going on. We do actually have DD checking again for that proxy pylon, just a little bit concerned about any possible early aggression that KiWiKaKi may be coming out with. First Marine making its way on through right now, and that of course is going to force KiWiKaKi to head on out of here. It looks like he himself is checking the corners and then going to be piecing on out back home, I'm going to assume. Or is he going straight to that tower? He's going somewhere like that. Oh, it looks like he's going to be chilling out actually right over here in the rich mineral field, maybe waiting to move in for some secondary scouting sometime soon. Cybernex Corps coming on through, situated right on the corner left-hand side of his main base. First Zealot making its way on out as well. Very important to note that there is no second assimilator yet, so we want to keep an eye when and how, not how, but when he ends up dropping that second assimilator, if at all. And now we're going to have 6 Jacks DDE. I'm expecting him to actually stay in a little while longer. Again, he's not really threatened until a Sentry or Stalker comes out, and he does want to check that timing of that second assimilator. There's the Probe Scout grabbing that Xel'Naga tower with a Marine moving across the center of the map. I do expect him to move on out of there. Looks like we also have a Marauder coming on out, so a little bit of early aggression. We've got some 1 racks early aggression here from DDE, and he might actually be moving into an expansion right after that. Looks like he will be. Here comes the expansion, and then we're going to be continuing to move on out. So we get that Marine, and actually scared away that Probe Scout going to be sitting over here. We've got an SCV moving on down. He's going to get a couple shots off. Not going to do much because those shields will recharge. Might as well turn face and do a little bit of damage himself and actually forced to pull away. Keep in mind, SCVs sit with larger base health. You can see 45 health as opposed to the total of 40 here. If you add those two 20s together, obviously the big advantage though is that those probes can recharge. Now here we go. We've got a couple of units moving across the map right now. We've got 1 Marine, a Marauder, and an SCV. It, of course, always, every time I say that, sounds like a bad joke. May very well be that. In fact, we do have this factory placement here, and actually, interestingly enough, he looks to be off. No, never mind. He will be on once that factory does finish. I'm just being silly right now. But yeah, factory replacement coming out. So going to be opened up. Marine, and let's see what this factory ends up coming out with. Could it be Blue Flame Hellions? Tanks are a possibility as well. You do not see tanks quite as often in the TVP matchup. It's just not basically the unit of choice. Oh, it was off. I thought it looked a little funny. Yeah, so the placement of the factory was a little bit off, unfortunately, for DDE. And even that small little mistake has delayed that first tank production. So he will be coming out with his initial tank, though. The only thing I can think of at this point, in all honesty, is he might be planning a timing push, a Marine tank heavy timing push. May exactly be what we're going to be seeing from DD. Now we do want to see how much KiWiKaKi has scouted out here. No, he doesn't know that factory is in place. He's got really no idea. Now, in the fact that he saw this semblance of a wall off, this informs him that DDE is planning to do something a little tricky. Now we do have that observer in play. Yes, we do. So here we go. Right now, KiWiKaKi will be moving out, and we'll be spotting out what DDE is doing. We can see right now KiWiKaKi moving into his expansion as well. SCV has scouted that, so it looks like he opened up with just a couple gateways and a robo, and then moved into that expo. We'll be going somewhat sentry heavy as well for early defense. But again, I do expect a timing push to come actually out here for DDE, trying to push out and do a little bit of aggression is assuming what's going to happen. Now, we do have right now KiWiKaKi moving on in, so he will be spotting. All right, Marine Heavy, we got one tank there as well as the Marauder, and there we go. Continued tank production, so you can see right now also the research going on inside of that tech lab as well. Probably going to inform him, hey, siege mode's going to be coming out, and there's the second rack. So right now, fully aware of everything that's going on. DDE hasn't really spotted that observer or doesn't want to waste the energy to actually scan and take it out, one or the other. But I'm a little bit concerned right now for KiWiKaKi, given the fact that this timing push is coming here from DDE, and how effective it could certainly possibly be. So yeah, second rack's making its way on through, along with this factory right now. We do also have a bunker placement going down, and actually, wow, he might not be pushing out, might be playing very defensively. I really like to see Terran players be certainly aggressive during the early game against Protoss, especially because this is certainly arguable, but many say that Protoss late game have quite the advantage with Colossus and High Templar. Yes, Terran players have Vikings to deal with Colossus, and they also have, of course, Ghosts to deal with High Templar. That is certainly the case, but nonetheless, early game aggression is something I like to see from Terran players against Protoss, and we do have a drop coming out, so there we go. He will, in fact, be doing a little bit of aggression. Now, major concern, though, is that these Marines don't have stim packs, so in all honesty, they really shouldn't be doing that much damage at all, unless KiWiKaKi, for some reason, moves his army to the center of the map, or just gets completely caught off guard and not paying attention to his workers, and doesn't pull him away. Something like that's possible. But in all honesty, don't expect much here from DDE. He doesn't really have the option of doing a lot of damage. I mean, look at that. The main force right now for KiWiKaKi is situated right there. We'd also have the Observer Scout right here. It's going to allow KiWiKaKi to see when and if a push does come. So here we go. A couple Marines just trying to get a few kills, and then you can see right now instantly lifting off. I think he got maybe 2 or 3 worker kills, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so it wasn't really much at all. KiWiKaKi taking a little bit of losses, but really wasn't that devastating. Not a major concern for him in the least. Now we do have Stimpack finally coming on through. Still going to be a little while longer till that finishes. Stimpack research time very, very long. Looks like transition will be into Marauder Heavy, so he did open up with those few tanks, and he's actually still continuing up this tank production. My only concern is that just tanks are so mobile. No, the Marines getting overwhelmed, as well as that medevac there. KiWiKaKi checking that alley, and DDE apparently wasn't paying attention to those units, just as I wasn't watching them either, and unfortunately got completely mobbed up there. At the same time, we do have KiWiKaKi preparing to move into his expansion. Given the fact that he did just get 8 free Marine kills plus a medevac, I'm probably not too concerned about a major push. That's actually, as small as that may sound, if you lose those if you lose the medevac and all those Marines without doing much damage at all, like only killing off 2 workers, that is kind of a pretty big loss, especially during the early stages of the game. Makes any aggression a little bit more difficult. We do have DD moving out across the map with a few Marines and Marauders. Stimpack again just about finished. We also have the level 1 upgrades as well as concussive shells coming on through. Looks like a robotics bay over here for KiWiKaKi, so we'll be working his way into Colossus, starting out with 1 immortal. Does he have more than that though? He might actually. I thought I saw another one. Wow, he's got 3 immortals. Oh, that's a little bit unnecessary. Oh, okay, never mind. I forgot. We're against tanks, so that actually makes a lot more sense. I'm just assuming that DDE was going for the typical bio build there. But anyways, yeah, Immortal Heavy will be very strong. Given the fact that DDE is sitting with tanks, and again, that is something that KiWiKaKi is fully aware of. We've got a pylon situated over here. This is going to allow him to see any additional drops or aggression that may be coming from this angle. 1 Marine spotting over here. That should be a free kill sometime soon, although keep in mind DDE is just using that for some scouting. That's the entire purpose. Once dealing with concussive shells, KiWiKaKi decided to turn around, and there goes the Immortal. Oh my gosh, look at that. The Marine and the Zealot and the Immortal just destroying that Marine and that Marauder. That Marauder did not like that Immortal fire whatsoever. Mortals do so much damage to armor units. It's absolutely fantastic to see that happen. KiWiKaKi dropping a proxy pylon over here in the corner. Again, this is something that's going to allow him to see if any drops come. Drops typically come right from this angle, so that pylon gives him full forewarning of that happening. We do have KiWiKaKi. He was tempting to push a little forward, though, maybe concerned about walking into that siege line. Decided to hold off for the moment. Again, that Marine Scout will be spotting the worker come down, and it looks like he actually probably will be getting this worker kill as well. There we go, Marine firing on the worker, and KiWiKaKi not responding in time and actually ends up losing that. The pylon getting a little bit of work there as well, but the Stalkers should be able to, of course, take care of that without issue. And again, we know that probe still situated over here. So there we go, Marine gets taken out, and finally, here comes the Nexus. Alright, so KiWiKaKi again staged right out front of DDE's base. Going to do some massive damage here and actually forcing that cancellation. That's just unreal. Again, Immortals destroy buildings. Anything armored, they just absolutely absolutely obliterate. So it's fantastic to see when that goes down. So KiWiKaKi moving up into his third right now, and again, just sitting out front. This is going to, again, allow him to poke and prod and do a little bit of damage, but also help him see what's coming, when it's coming, and all of that. The Observer, of course, doing a majority of that work, though, and here we go. Right now, with that Observer Scout being fully aware of this push, Marine, Marauder, Tank, Viking, and a few medevacs thrown into the mix right now. As a result, KiWiKaKi pulling back with his forces. We do also have KiWiKaKi moving up into this fourth. That is very risky, but if this stays hidden for even a few minutes, it's going to be huge for KiWiKaKi. He'll get just a tremendous advantage. He's feigning the expansion over here. I don't expect him to take the high yield. That would be way too much. Sitting on 6 expansions at the 15-minute mark is nuts. The fact that he's, I'm sorry, that would be his 5th, but the fact that he's even sitting on 4 right now is pretty crazy. Especially given the fact that DDE is only on 2. We can see he's getting ready to move into his 3rd, but still sitting on 4 expansions right now, 15 minutes in the game. As a Protoss player is nuts. If it were Zerg, it'd be a little more reasonable, but as Protoss, it's just absolutely insane. And now we're starting to work up those Colossus numbers right now. He's got some more coming out. Also, that charge upgrade just about finished. He's sitting pretty Zealot heavy. Yeah, he's got a healthy mix, but he's got a fair amount of Zealots, and it's going to fare very well once those charge upgrades do finish. Going to allow him to swoop up on those tanks, as well as prevent that bio from escaping as much with that kiting that we expect to see from DDE. Now, DDE deciding not to push yet, situated at the Xel'Naga Tower with those Marines, just allowing him to spot what's going on. And here we go, seeing what's going on. We get this Colossus preparing to move forward, and trying to get that free kill. He needs to be careful though, walking into those Vikings. We don't have Blink Stalkers yet. Blink research just starting. We get the armor level 2 coming up. A few more gateways getting dropped as well for KiWiKaKi. DDE working his way up to Blue Flame Hellions. Very interesting transition. Also does have this Planetary Fortress coming out here at the high yield. Gonna do what he can to get a strong economy. Spotting over here with the supply depot. Same point as that pylon over there, just trying to spot any aggression, any drops, anything like that. Right now, DDE setting up in the middle. He wants to try to siege those guys up and protect this expansion as much as possible. I am entirely concerned, though, about a push from this angle. Could do a lot of damage before he could even bother to unsiege and get his forces within the range of what KiWiKaKi would be doing. A few more Warpins and Stalkers coming out over here. Look at the macro. Oh my gosh, the production screen's just taking up absolutely everything right now. Pretty nuts right now. I want to take a look at the income as expected. KiWiKaKi having the advantage right now. Again, sitting at 4 bases at the moment. Certainly a strong advantage when it comes to economy. Blink research just finished right now. We've got that charge upgrade up as well, and with those few more gateways, going to allow him to, of course, warp in much more during each warp in cooldown once that finishes. Keeping up that Colossus production and dropping a couple cannons to try to defend his expansions. Very, very nice macro heavy play from both players, in all honesty. Still not a lot of action. That is unfortunate for me because I like to see constant aggression in these games. I'm sure they're much more fun to watch as well. But here we go. The push coming from the opposite side. And again, DDE forced to move his siege tanks over. Took a couple losses. Didn't really take any base damage loss there. But KiWiKaKi circumventing the entire force right now. And we'll be working right on up over here to the backside. And those Colossus just shredding right now. He has to be very concerned about getting trapped right now back there. But unfortunately, DDE really not in the position at that moment to be able to do that. Scan going down, allowing him to drop that Observer. And again, moving forward to do a little bit of damage. He did a ton of damage with those Colossus to that SCV line. Good response, though, by DDE. Managing to pull back at the exact moment that he needed to. Now, DDE with this sensor tower, again, he sees everything that's going on. He knows exactly where those forces are. Not really confused at all as to where KiWiKaKi is pushing from. Taking a few shells there from that tank line. It's quite unfortunate. It looks like we will be seeing DDE come out with the Ghost Academy, but more importantly, trying to formulate a little bit of a wall. Again, keep in mind, he's fully aware of where KiWiKaKi's army is and what they are doing. And it looks like DDE trying to feign to push out across the map, but unfortunately, away from his expansion, going to leave it very vulnerable right now. Chargel's moving in as well as those Colossus doing massive damage, forcing a lot of repairs. Now we do those Vikings moving forward to try to take out a few Colossus. Blink Stalkers taking care of those Vikings, though, pushing them back. There's a lot of SCV loss there for DDE, but more importantly, massing a repair on that Planetary Fortress, that cost resources, and that's something you need to be very careful about, how much you repair. And obviously, he wanted to keep that up, and that's what DDE needed to do, but that was planned by KiWiKaKi, forcing that repair and forcing DDE to lose resources. That's exactly what he wanted. Now, DDE still hasn't been aggressive. He's been very passive all game, and that's a concern for me because he needs to be more aggressive, especially with how heavy KiWiKaKi is macroing the expansion. Very close to getting dropped, and see you later. KiWiKaKi dropping the high yield expansion. DDE forced to try to rebuild it in a little bit safer position back here before dropping it actually at the high yield. DDE's in a very tough situation. Looks like he's lifting off that orbital command and moving it on over, and still DDE not pushing for a counterattack. and this is killing me because he's doing no damage. Let's look at KiWiKaKi's income. That is absurd. That is almost unwinnable for DDE. He's just too far behind. He has not been aggressive right now. We're finally hitting the 20-minute in-game mark, and DDE is finally at this point in the game pushing out. But I'm concerned because KiWiKaKi, with this strong economic advantage, even when he loses his forces, he's going to be able to rebuild very quickly. There we go. Chart Delta moving on in, as well as those Colossus. We've got some big storms going down. KiWiKaKi is walking right into that siege line, but he doesn't really care that much right now, and he has lost everything. Oh my gosh, that siege line was nuts. Plus those Vikings, and DDE mopping up absolutely everything. We've got some charged Zelts coming in the mix here, though, doing what they can to add a bit more of damage to this. And actually, the charged Zelts may have just almost saved the day there, completely thinning up the rest of those forces by DDE. So DDE has got an opportunity to do a little bit of damage, but we're going to see another warp in very soon. We've got 5 Archons coming out. I'm actually not entirely sure where those are. There they are. A couple more Zelts. We should be seeing a heavy warp in sometime soon. DDE really needs to mobilize. He needs to do some damage. Yes, he took out the army, but again, keep in mind, KiWiKaKi is a strong economic advantage, so unless DDE can start taking out some of these expansions, he's going to be in a very, very tough situation. Siege line is going up right now for DDE, getting ready to try to shell out this expansion right here. We got a few Zelts moving from this side. Archons moving from the other angle. Temporary wall from that half-built command center, and the Zealots moving in from the other side right now. Archons don't really care. Zealots swooping up and killing off the rest of what DDE has. And this is exactly what I expected to happen after that large engagement. As I mentioned prior, you know, even if DDE took out the army of KiWiKaKi, which he did, he has to deal with those reinforcements. KiWiKaKi, with a vastly superior income, had no problem rebuilding his army incredibly quickly. We can see right now, in fact, the army size of KiWiKaKi larger than that of DDE at this moment in the game. So DDE in a tough spot right now. We've got Zealots and Archons pushing across the map. The level 3 upgrade just about to finish. DDE coming out with his level 3 upgrade as well. He's got a pretty dismal army in comparison, though, to what KiWiKaKi is sitting at the moment. And this is, again, you can't be so passive. That was one of the major problems for DDE. Now he's going to be moving out with some Blue Flame Hellions. Let's see if he can do much economic damage with this. He certainly has a great opportunity. He needs to be very wary about those cannons, though. There are absolutely cannons everywhere for KiWiKaKi at every one of his expansions. It's going to help him defend against this quite a bit right now. So there we go. Hellions moving on right up into this expansion. They will be walking in that cannon. Should be taking a few shots from it. Trying to pull back right now with his units. Should be warping in maybe a Stalker or two. And never mind, we just got Stalker reinforcements. That will certainly do the trick. Pulling on back to the safety of the other side of the Nexus, as well as that cannon. And here come the Stalkers. So there's some free Hellion kills for those Stalkers. No problem whatsoever. And once more, the strong economic advantage for KiWiKaKi being absolutely vital here. Big EMP going down on the bulk of KiWiKaKi's army there. But then throwing away the Ghost kind of unnecessarily. A little odd to see that, in all honesty. Look at this super aggressive proxy pylon placement. KiWiKaKi in a very forward position right there with that proxy pylon, getting prepared to push onto this high yield yet again. And oh my gosh, no, there are way too many Vikings right now. DDE sitting so Viking heavy. There's only a few Colossus. Now they're going to take them out very quickly, yes, but still the bulk of the force is the ground army. And since he's wasted so many resources on all of those Vikings, going to have no problem mopping them up. The storms enough to take care of them. And DDE forced to call the GG. DDE opened up this game going Marine Tank into Expand and then getting a Starport. Now this is something that KiWiKaKi was fully aware of due to this Observer Scout. KiWiKaKi himself opened up with a few gateways and a Robo, as well as that expansion. DDE attempted some Marine aggression with this medevac early game, however without any stim pack wasn't really able to do that much damage, only killed off a couple of workers before he was pushed back. Then KiWiKaKi, checking the little corner back alley over here, spotted the medevac and Marines and was able to get those free kills because unfortunately DDE wasn't paying quite enough attention. We then moved our way into the macro portion of the game as KiWiKaKi worked his way up to Colossus, moved his way into his third as well as his fourth expansion. DDE moved into his third and attempted to push out, however, spotting where DDE was, KiWiKaKi took advantage of the misplacement of his army, pushed forward with some force fields preventing repairs, and was able to take out that third very quickly. After losing his third, DDE pushed out for some counter-aggression for the first time in the game, and actually we're going to see here DDE able to mop up everything that KiWiKaKi had. Now even though that is the case, KiWiKaKi had a far superior economic advantage, and as a result was able to reinforce very quickly and mop up what DDE had.